I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on because I'm wearing the shirt. You soon formed the Job Squad with Bob Holly and Scorpio, and joined by Gilbert and the Blue Meanie. How did this idea come about? And when you look back, how do you feel about that group's run together?
Well, the Job Squad started with me just being a smartass in WWF and in the catering room with Jim Cornette one day, and I just made a joke about, and again, this was during my bad attitude period, about the fact because everybody had a gang, they had the Los Boricuas, you had all these different gangs, and that were on TV. You had the Hart Foundation, Los Boricuas, and everybody had a faction. And I was like, well, Jimmy, I'm going to start my own gang. And he's like, what are you talking about? I go, I'm going to start the most powerful gang here. He goes, huh? I go, call it the Job Squad. It's going to be me, Barry Horowitz, Chris Candido, Justin Credible. I had about 4 or 5 guys. And he goes, you're out of your mind. I go, we're going to be the most powerful guys here. He goes, how's that? I go, okay, here's how it works, buddy. Because I was getting pissed because there were a lot of people up there that had forgotten that the only reason you win is because I let you. Or somebody told me to let you. So they actually thought they were winning, And I said, Undertaker goes out there and tombstones Barry. Barry gets up and dusts off his head and walks out. Who had the power in that match? I said, exactly. I said, because there's too many people here that think that they're really winning and we're really losing. And that ain't the case. I said, so it kind of took off and it was just a joke, and Meanie and I kept joking about it, because I stay in contact with Meanie all the time. He's like a little brother to me. And I went to ECW, and Candido knew about it, and they're all like, you need to make t-shirts. You need to make t-shirts. And I'm like, I don't know if I don't know about that, guys, because there's still part of me in there. I was like, but to the fan base of ECW, which is a marginal or niche fan base, I was like, okay, it works. So I made shirts, and with Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones was awesome. He helped out. He helped me with it. Back then, it was like the start of the internet, really, and we sold T-shirts on the internet and at the shows. I think probably between May of that year and October, because around October, November, I went back to WWE. I must have sold probably 3,000, 3,500 T-shirts at $25 a shirt, which is impressive.
Yeah.
But I use this as a good example to explain to young wrestlers. Do you want to be Al Snow Job Squad successful, or do you want to be Steve Austin T-shirt successful? In a short amount of time, I sold about over 3,000 T-shirts at $25 a shirt. That's before internet commerce even started. That was where people had to mail me a physical check. I had to deposit the check and then physically mail them back a T-shirt. Okay. Or I sold them at the shows. In that time, I sold that many T-shirts, and it was so popular that WWE licensed the Job Squad, wanting to market it for me. The issue was they had no idea how to sell it to a general audience, because it was strictly a wrestling audience-based merchandise idea. Only people who were real and hardcore wrestling fans, smart fans, would understand what it was. So you have Steve Austin, who has shirts in every major outlet store in the United States. Or you have Al Snow's shirts that sold a large amount in a very short amount of time, but only to a very niche audience. And the same goes for you as a wrestler, is do you want to market yourself in a way that attracts just the wrestling fan? Or do you want to market yourself to where you attract and become successful with the general audience? You have control over that. Yeah. That's up to you. Too many choose to just be get the immediate gratification and try to market themselves to the wrestling fan. So when I came up to WWE, they wanted to license it, and Vince Russo wanted to use the idea on TV. But the problem was, how do you use a smart idea in front of a general audience and use it correctly and logically? You can't. and without exposing the business. And then, and this may come as a surprise, guys. I've said this 100 times before, but, just here in the United States alone, people since the 1920s had known that wrestling was predetermined. They still showed up in droves, in thousands, by the thousands, to pay to watch it because they could believe in the lie. They could believe that it was a competitive situation, that the outcome wasn't predetermined, that we didn't know who was going to win, and that the loss and win actually had some kind of consequence to it. And that's quickly spread all over the rest of the world. People still pay to see it, no different than they do magic, because if you're not a complete imbecile, you understand that magic is not real. They're not defying the laws of physics or gravity, but they are so good at what they do that while you're watching the show, you can sit there and be in awe and amazed and really question, well, maybe what are they doing? I don't know. And professional wrestling is much the same way. So when you have a gimmick like the J.O.B Squad, you can't cross the line, but then at the same time, in order to do it right, you have to. And therefore it just didn't work. And they put us all together because they didn't have anything to do with the other guys, and at the time didn't have plans.
Yeah.
They wanted to try to work it together to where they maybe could get a rub, and we could generate something. But we were stuck in where we were to be rebels but couldn't rebel, because if we rebelled, we'd have to cross that line and explain why we're rebelling.